Morning, folks. I hope you've enjoyed your Jubilee celebrations. I got back from holiday a little bit earlier than anticipated, so I've managed to get this video out for you on time. Let's get straight over to the news right after you've given it a thumbs up. Thanks. Okay, folks, we're going to start off here with the BBC website. We've got a story here about low emission zones, and it's the most polluting cars to be barred from city centres. This has actually started now in Scotland, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Aberdeen and Dundee in a bid to improve air quality. Transport Minister Jenny Gilruth hailed the introduction of low emission zones (LEZs) as a truly significant public health moment for Scotland. Experts say air pollution is causing new lung conditions like lung cancer and worsening existing conditions like asthma and COPD. But some communities have raised concerns that the schemes will only displace traffic and emissions to roads that skirt the city centre. So basically, if you've got a diesel car or van, it needs to be Euro 6 in order to drive into one of these emission zones, and that's mainly applying to vehicles registered after September 2015. Petrol cars need to be Euro 4 emissions, which generally those registered after January 2006. That's not perfect science. There are a few that don't fit into that, so do check before you drive. If you drive into those zones and you don't have one of those cars, you get a 60 quid fine, which is halved to 30 quid if you pay early, and that will double for each subsequent offence within a 90-day period. So this is not something where you can just pay a fee and drive into those zones. They're saying if you drive into those zones, you get fined. If you continue to do it, it's going to double. This man here with the completely unnecessary scarf is called Simon Hollidge. He's of Edinburgh Association of Community Councils, and he says the zones will drive traffic into other parts of the city and kind of make it pointless. Key roads like Queen Street, for example, will be excluded from the low emission zone and will have polluting, non-compliant vehicles using these roads even more than they are at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised to see that sort of hitting cities south of the border before too long, I must admit. Okay, this one's from The Guardian. Car tyres produce vastly more particle pollution than exhaust, test show. So we touched on this in a story in last week's video, and you can go and find this article if you want to go into lots of detail. But this little chart here sort of sums things up. Tyres produce far more particles than exhaust in modern cars. Milligrams of particles per kilometre of driving. So new tyres 73, used tyres 36.5, exhaust, the legal limit is 4.5, and real world exhaust is 0.02. They say here, we came to a bewildering amount of material being released into the environment, 300,000 tonnes of tyre rubber in the UK and US just from cars and vans every year. Basically saying tyres are made from hundreds of different materials, many of which are carcinogenic, and when you multiply it by the total wear rates, you get some very staggering figures. And it basically goes on to say that with EVs becoming more popular, they're much heavier, they're going to get through tyres a bit quicker, and this is going to escalate. So expect changes to tyres to be coming, or fines if you've got the wrong kind of tyre, I guess. Right, over to Autocar now for quite a few stories. Car ownership dips again in the UK, but plug-in vehicle use soars 71%. So remember, this is only car ownership, and in 2021 it reduced by 0.2%. SMMT also noted that the average age of UK cars hit a record high of 8.7 years, which it basically says sort of proves that newer vehicles are more reliable because you can keep them for longer. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that all the time. Around 8.4 million cars, just under a quarter of those on the road, are more than 13 years old. Despite the downturn in car ownership, the overall number of vehicles on UK roads increased to 40.5 million, up 0.4%. This was down to a bumper year for light commercial vehicles. Plug-in cars, that's battery EVs, plug-in hybrids, electric cars with range extenders, etc. Ownership on those was also up, with 720,000 now on UK roads, accounting for 1 in 50 cars in operation. And that, together with electric vans, buses and trucks, means plug-in vehicles went up 71% last year, and around 58% of plug-in vehicles are owned by businesses rather than individuals. So in total, internal combustion engine cars are still nearly 96% of the vehicles on the road in the UK, but obviously that number will start to decline quite quickly now. HMRC criticises mileage rates lag behind the cost of EV charging. unchanged rate for EVs could leave drivers out of pocket as energy costs spiral. So if you're a company car driver or you get a car allowance at work and you can claim back mileage for your business trips, a lot of companies use the HMRC guideline figures. They change every once in a while, but typically for a petrol car, you're looking sort of 13 to 15p a mile. For diesel cars, you're looking about 11 or 13p a mile, something like that. But EVs are only 5p a mile. Now, if you're charging from home, and you might even be using solar, 5p a mile could be achievable for you, but not for everyone and not at all times of day. And certainly, if you've got a company car and you're using it for long trips, you're probably using public chargers quite often. 5p a mile is not going to work on one of those. So adjustments have come in on petrol and diesel between 1 and 3p per mile, but they've done nothing to the 5p on EVs. So there's a chap here from LeasePlan who's saying that these government figures are supposed to be based on actual costs. However, no guidance is or will be given as to what methodologies will be recognised when calculating these costs. The government is saying this is based on average cost, this is what you can claim, but they're not giving any of the methodology behind it whatsoever. Calculating the actual cost for an EV is often a complex process due to the mix of home energy and public charging and the different VAT rates involved. Businesses will need to review their reimbursement policies given this missed opportunity. We recommend that they speak to leasing partners who should be able to advise them on the established methods. So you can see the new advisory rates have gone up to 14p for a petrol car under 1400cc, 17p up to 2 litre, 25p after, just a penny less on the first two for diesel and a fair amount less if it's over 2 litre. Seems a really fair point to me. Lots of company car drivers now will be in EVs for obvious reasons, i.e. company car tax. They must be getting hammered at the moment every time they go and do a business trip. Obviously some people have company cars as a perk, but many people have them as a tool of the trade to go and do their job. I used to do 25,000-30,000 miles a year in my company car when I had one, and about 98% of that was business trips, and I'd get clobbered on company car tax and often not be able to claim back the true cost of my petrol. It's a joke. Skoda could build Czech Gigafactory and other VW Group cars. Skoda's main production facility in is likely to build cars for other Volkswagen Group brands in coming years as the company ramps up its electrification program. It currently produces the Enyaq 4 and the Skoda Octavia, and the Czech firm has opened a new plant to assemble battery systems for the MEB EV platform, the first such facility outside Germany. It can assemble more than 255,000 battery packs per year. There are already plans to increase annual production capacity by 125,000 packs per year by 2023. Okay, anything that speeds up the production chain is good news as far as I'm concerned. BMW have released this new 2022 iX1 272-mile EV, joins 3rd gen X1 lineup. BMW's entry-level SUV enters new generation with petrol, PHEV and electric powertrain options. There we go. It looks a bit like an X1, doesn't it? Nice interior. It's okay. It doesn't particularly blow my dress up, so to speak, but it's okay. So the electric one here is 309 brake horsepower, 0 to 62 in 5.7, and a claimed range of between 257 and 272 miles. Can be charged at rates of up to 130 kilowatt for a 10 to 80% top-up time of 29 minutes. Shortly after that version comes out, the ICE models will be out, and they're due to be on sale from October. Fiat to axe all non-electrified models in the UK from July. Firm adjusts lineup as all models are now available with electrified powertrains. So this one kind of does what it says on the tin. If it's a car that doesn't also have an EV version available, Fiat will no longer be making it. Right, the Delorean returns with a 300-mile Taycan rival for 2024. Alpha 5 flagship leads Delorean revival with V8 coupe, electric saloon and hydrogen SUV in the works. Here it is. The Delorean, obviously sort of famously the car from Back to the Future, and this is their new one. I'm not massively into that. I know some people are going bananas over this on the interwebs. I'm not in love with it. Again, I think they had a brilliant chance to do something really sort of retro and cool, and they've gone ultra modern with it. And there's more than a tip of the hat to quite a few other cars in that thing. It's not the most original design I've probably ever seen. It will get 0 to 60 in around 3.4 seconds and top at 150 miles an hour. Have a range of more than 300 miles on the US EPA cycle. No word on the car's underpinnings. The car's being built in Italy We've outsourced that, and we have some partners in the UK on the powertrain side. It's going to be a limited run of 88 because, 88 miles an hour, Back to the Future. And no word on pricing for that, but I think you'll probably have to save up your bus fare for a little while to get your hands on one of those. Check this thing out. We had the Citroen Ami last week in the news, and this is the big rival for it, the Squad Mobility Solar City Car. Dutch startup's new quadricycle features built-in solar panels, and there it is. Check it out, what a thing. Wow. I don't know, these tiny little city cars, I think there's a place for them in big cities, state the blooming obvious. If you can buy them cheap enough and they don't give you too many, I think if you can buy them cheap enough and they don't give you too many issues and too many compromises, then there's definitely a place for them. This is going to go on sale in Europe next year at £5,290 or €6,250, excluding VAT. And there's no news yet on whether it's going to be offered in the UK. So on paper, it's a bit more tempting than the Citroen Ami, I guess, because there's a version that will do 44 miles an hour. According to the makers, it's going to be possible to get 62 miles of range. They also say that the solar roof batteries can add 12.5 miles of range on a sunny day. This is quite cool as well. You can actually park it, take the batteries out and take them to a power source to plug in and charge. You can charge them on a 220 volt socket. So there you go, bit of fun. Auto Express, check this out. Thanks for Matteo for sending this one over to me on Twitter earlier this week. New hot Polestar 2 BST edition 270 blasts in with 469 brake horsepower. The Polestar 2 BST edition 270 is a more powerful focused version of the popular electric car, which takes on the Model 3 performance saloon with 469 brake horsepower. So they think the range is going to drop slightly from the 299 miles that you get in the current long range version of the car, but could also slash its 0 to 62 time of 4.5 seconds dramatically. Ride height's been lowered by 25mm. The Polestar 2 does sit quite high actually, doesn't it? And the car features 20% stiffer springs. And no talk of money in this one, but it's not going to be cheap, but I do like that quite a lot. Okay, so an absolutely massive thank you from me to all the people that subscribed on last week's news video. It's the most subscribers I've ever had on news video by a long stretch, and I've got 459 subscribers at the time of recording this, and it's breathtaking. So thank you so much for that. It's huge. What that means, by the way, is that because that video got lots more likes and subscribes than they normally get, YouTube showed it to far more people. And that video right now has had over 20,000 views. Again, by far the most successful news video I've had. So you can see the knock-on effect with these things and why, people do constantly ask for subscribers. Now, the interesting bit is because that reached a new audience, almost 77% of people that watched it aren't subscribed. And if you've come back this week, please subscribe. If I could get this every week, honestly, my life would be complete. So if you can help, please do. And thank you also to all the people following last week's video that have gone and followed me on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. It really means a lot, more than I can tell you, believe me. And for that reason, I'm doing a big giveaway. Here it is. I've got my hands on a couple of tickets for Goodwood Festival of Speed on Thursday, the 23rd of June. It's at Goodwood House near Chichester, down on the south coast. I'm going. I did try and get some press tickets, but I don't have enough subscribers for that, so I had to fork out 90 odd quid myself. And I've also managed to get my hands on 2 extra tickets, okay? And I'm going to give those away to one of you that's watching this. Obviously, you have to be available on that day, and depending on when I receive those tickets, you might have to be there early in the morning to meet me at the entrance so I can hand them over to you. If I get them in plenty of time, I'll post them out to you. Now, it's not just the 2 tickets I'm going to give away. I'm also going to give you a cap, one of these lovely stickers, and if I can find a couple of other bits to throw in, I certainly will do. I'm happy to meet up with you there during the day and say hello and what have you, and it's completely free to enter this. I just want to do it to say thanks, in the hope that you'll keep spreading the message and doing the Lord's work of promoting my channel. Now, the competition is free to enter, but if you want to buy me a coffee and contribute towards my considerable costs, I would greatly appreciate it, and there is a link on that page where you can go ahead and buy me a coffee. That doesn't get get you any more entries, by the way. I'll be totally honest. All the answers from this drop into a spreadsheet, and I'm going to use a random number generator to pick out the winner. And I'm going to do that as soon as I get hold of the tickets, okay? The earlier the better, really. I'll do a really quick post or video on all my social media channels to let the lucky winner know. All I need from you is your name, either a contact number or email. It will only be me that sends you an email or phones you. I'm not going to sell your data to anyone or anything like that. Just out of interest to me, I'm just asking you if you're a subscriber on any of these. Again, if you subscribe to me on nothing or everything, it's not going to affect your chances of winning. And I'm just asking, can you get yourself there on the 23rd of June? I will only give these tickets to you or a nominated person. I'm not going to send them off to StubHub or something. So please only enter this if you can attend on the 23rd of June. So there we go. That's all there is to it. I know for a lot of you, it's a long stretch to get down to Goodwood. So I will try and come up with another giveaway at some point that's a bit more inclusive for those of you in other parts of the UK and possibly even those of you that are abroad. But for this one, it was just an opportunity not to be missed, and it's such a brilliant day out that I really think it's worth the effort, even if you have to try and get a hotel the night before or something and split it up over a couple of days. It is brilliant, it really is. Just to give you an idea of what's coming up, Auto Express have done a little preview of it here, which is well worth a look. Some of the new cars that will be on show for the first time will be the new M3 Touring, the BMW XM, BMW M2, M4 CSL, Ford Ranger Raptor, which is one I'll be spending a lot of time drooling over, the electric Genesis GV70, which I'll definitely be spending some time with at some point in the future, the Gordon Murray T50, the Gordon Murray T33, the Lexus EV Sport Concept is going to be there, and the Mercedes AMG 1. Also got the Mercedes AMG GT 63. You've got the Mercedes AMG C63 plug-in hybrid version, that Porsche 911 Sport Classic that we mentioned in last week's video, which is about 200 grand if I remember rightly, and the ProDrive P25, which is a £500,000 car, and the new manual version of the Toyota Supra. It really is a brilliant day out, so do go and check it out. If you want to try and win some free ticket, go right ahead. The link is in the video description and pinned as the top comment. Right, the new 2022 Lexus RX SUV arrives with bold look to take on the BMW X5. We're still on Auto Express here, by the way. I love the fact that they've ditched the old infotainment system, basically taken on the design language from the NX, and possibly it's a bit of an evolution from that. And I think it's quite a handsome beast. The RX is always quite a good looking car compared to a lot of the rivals, in my personal opinion. All the numbers look good on it, apart from the price, because it's starting off at 56 grand. The VW ID Buzz is going to be priced from 57 grand. Volkswagen's retro-styled all-electric ID Buzz will offer up to 258 miles of range. Customers will have to place a deposit of £2,000 by the 30th of June to secure a priority slot for the 5-seat ID Buzz. Pre-orders not available on the cargo commercial van just yet. So 57 grand is the entry-level version. Then you go up one to the style model and it's 62 grand, and then you go up to the first edition and it's 63 grand. Yuck. Is it me, or has 50 grand become like the new 30 when in terms of car pricing? So many cars now seem to be upwards of 50 grand, and it's bananas. To me, this should be sitting at 40, 45. I guess they know the market better than I do, and I bet these things are sold out within about 3 seconds. Probably enough people have enough disposable income or enough desire to have one of these things that they actually just say, sod it, I'm going to pay it. Yeah, it's a bit out of my reach at the moment. They look like nice things, but 57 grand's worth of nice. Wow. Right, finally, just a bit of fun to end this one off. I've seen a couple of things like this before. It always makes me feel incredibly boring, or perhaps a bit of a stranger on this planet. This is from the good old Sun, which we can always rely on quality content from the Sun. Crash and yearn. I'm in an intimate relationship with my car. The sex is incredible and we have a favourite position. So Nathaniel here from Arkansas divulged the saucy details of his love life with his boyfriend Chase, a racy red 1998 Chevy Monte Carlo. I mean, Nathaniel here doesn't appear to be one of life's winners, does he? But I've seen a few documentaries about these things in the past, and it's called Objectophile, I think, where people like fall in love with inanimate objects. Unusual, but a thing. Lots of people refer to themselves as car guys or car lovers, but not many are truly a car lover like this guy is. Everyone knows how much I love cars, but I think rather than a Chevy Monte Carlo, if I were to get into this sort of thing, it would probably be an RX-7 or an RX-8, because I've always preferred a Wankel. Thanks ever so much for watching, folks. Please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe if you already haven't. And thanks again to all those people that subscribed last week. I was a bit blown away, if I'm quite honest. And good luck everyone with that Goodwood competition. I hope to meet one or two of you there. I've got 2 press cars in for review this week, so they'll be coming up, probably one video this week, one next week. I've got the new Honda Jazz and I've got a Kia Sorento in. They'll be out soon. And my next video, which should be out, I guess, Monday or Tuesday, will be the lease deals of the month video for June in the new format. So I hope you look forward to that one, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks.